Right now, while you're watching this video, something invisible is collapsing around you. It's not the stock market. It's not the climate. It's something you use every single day without even thinking about it. And when it's gone, everything else falls apart. Only 16% of Americans still trust their government. That's down from 77% in 1964. But here's what nobody's talking about. This isn't just about politics. This collapse is about to hit your wallet, your health, and your future in ways you can't imagine. I'm talking about the collapse of social trust, and it's the most important trend that nobody's discussing. Trust is the invisible infrastructure that makes modern life work. It's why you believe your paycheck will clear, why you take medicine your doctor prescribes, and why you don't barricade yourself in your house every night. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what's happening, why experts are calling this an existential threat, and most importantly, what you can do to protect yourself before this crisis accelerates. Because the data is clear, we're already past the tipping point. Here's what's actually happening right now, and most people have no idea. The 2025 Edelman Trust Barometer, the world's largest annual study on trust, released their findings. And for the first time, they're using a new word to describe what they're seeing: grievance. Not just distrust. Grievance. A feeling that the entire system is rigged against ordinary people. Let me give you the numbers. Trust in physicians and hospitals has dropped 30 points in just 4 years, from 71% to 40%. Think about that. During a global pandemic, we lost trust in doctors. Trust in media? Lowest ever recorded. Trust in government? We're at 16%, the lowest since they started tracking this in 1958. But here's where it gets really dark. This isn't just about being skeptical of politicians. According to research from Johns Hopkins, interpersonal trust, your willingness to trust random strangers, has fallen from 46% in the 1970s to below 32% today. And this isn't just an American problem. 22 of 28 countries studied now have massive trust inequality, where rich people trust institutions way more than poor people do. The social contract is literally breaking down globally. Warren Buffett once said, "Trust is like the air we breathe. When it's present, nobody really notices. When it's absent, everybody notices." Well, we're starting to notice. Now, before you panic, let me explain exactly what's coming and why this matters so much. A study just published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, one of the most prestigious scientific journals in the world, analyzed what happens when trust collapses in modern economies. And here's what they found. It creates a death spiral. Here's how it works. When people stop trusting institutions, wealth becomes more concentrated. When wealth concentrates, rich people capture the government and rig the rules. When rules get rigged, people trust institutions even less. Rinse and repeat until everything breaks. They studied countries that went through this cycle. Some, like Scandinavian countries, built systems to escape the trap. Others didn't. And the ones that didn't, they faced economic collapse, social breakdown, or both. The United Nations had released their World Social Report for 2025, and they're warning about a global social crisis driven by insecurity, inequality, and distrust. These are UN bureaucrats. They don't use language like crisis lightly. But let me break down what this actually means for you. First, economically, when trust is low, everything costs more. You need more lawyers, more contracts, more enforcement, more security. Businesses spend more verifying everything. Innovation slows because nobody wants to share ideas. Entire markets can freeze up. We saw this in the 2008 financial crisis when banks stopped trusting each other. Second, politically, we're already seeing this. Extreme polarization isn't just people disagreeing. It's people believing the other side is actively trying to destroy the country. When you don't trust democratic institutions, you start looking for strongmen or radical solutions. Third, personally, the health impacts are staggering. Researchers have found that low social trust increases stress, worsens mental health, fuels addiction, and even shortens your lifespan. Communities with low trust have higher rates of violence and worse health outcomes across the board. And here's where it gets interesting. Younger people already get this. Gen Z shows the lowest trust levels of any generation across almost every institution. They've grown up watching institutions fail, and they're adapting by creating their own networks and systems. But that's not sustainable at scale. So why does this matter to you specifically right now? Because trust is the currency of modern life, and your supply is running out. If you're trying to advance your career, you're competing in a world where professional networks matter more than ever, but people are less willing to take chances on strangers. If you're trying to build wealth, you're navigating markets where information is increasingly unreliable and scams are everywhere. If you're trying to stay healthy, you need to trust medical advice at a time when health misinformation is at record levels. And if you have kids or plan to, they're inheriting a world where basic cooperation is breaking down, where every transaction requires verification, where communities fragment into smaller and smaller tribes of people who think exactly alike. The 2025 Edelman report found that people now trust their employer more than they trust government, media, or even NGOs. Think about the implications. Your boss has more credibility than elected officials. That's not a healthy society. This isn't some abstract academic problem. This affects your daily life right now. Every time you second-guess whether news is real or fake. Every time you wonder if a business is trying to scam you. Every time you feel like nobody's looking out for people like you. That's the trust collapse showing up in your life. Unlike some massive global trends, this is one where individual action actually matters. Step 1. Build your own trust network. I'm talking about real relationships with real people, not social media followers. According to the research, peer trust, trusting friends and family, is actually increasing while institutional trust falls. This is people adapting. Join local groups. Show up consistently. Be someone others can rely on. Your personal network will matter more in the next decade than it has in the last 50 years. Step 2. Become a verification expert. Since you can't automatically trust sources, you need to get good at verifying information. Learn basic media literacy. Check multiple sources. Understand who benefits from information you receive. Use fact-checking tools. The Johns Hopkins researchers found that trusted messengers, people who build relationships and communicate transparently, are becoming crucial. Be that person in your circle. Step 3. Invest in skills over credentials. When institutional trust is high, credentials matter: degrees, certifications, titles. When it's low, demonstrated ability matters more. Build a portfolio of actual work. Develop skills you can prove. Show, don't tell. In a low-trust world, your reputation comes from what people see you do, not what institutions say about you. Step 4. Create financial resilience. This isn't about prepping for the apocalypse. It's about acknowledging that institutions you might have relied on, pensions, Social Security, banks, are less stable than they were. Diversify income streams. Build emergency funds. Reduce dependence on any single system. The research shows that economic insecurity directly feeds the trust crisis, creating a vicious cycle. Step 5. Practice relationship-centered communication. This is key to rebuilding trust at every level. That means actually listen to people, even when you disagree. Be transparent about what you know and don't know. Admit mistakes. Follow through on commitments. These sound basic, but in a low-trust world, they're revolutionary. And here's the most important thing. Be part of the solution, not the problem. The study in PNAS showed that societies escape the trust trap through collective action. When enough people start acting trustworthy and demanding accountability, the cycle can reverse. Scandinavian countries did it. The United States did it during the Progressive Era in the early 1900s. It's possible. Look, I'm not going to lie to you. The data on trust collapse is genuinely concerning. We're at levels not seen in generations, and the trajectory isn't good. But here's what gives me hope. People are resilient. We've been through trust crises before and rebuilt. And you now know something that most people don't. You see the invisible crisis coming. The question is, what are you going to do with that knowledge? Are you going to be someone people can trust? Are you going to build real relationships? Are you going to help reverse this cycle, or just watch it accelerate? If you found this valuable, subscribe and hit the notification bell. I'm covering all the trends that will reshape the next decade, from fertility collapse to AI transformation to economic restructuring. And drop a comment. Do you feel the trust collapse in your own life? Where do you see it most? The future belongs to people who see what's coming and prepare. Let's get ready together.